Namaskar. The mind is the instrument of perception. We perceive the reality, we perceive the world according to what we have within our own mind. Also, we express ourselves, we interact with the external reality according to the contents of our inner being. So by changing the mind, by developing the mind, we totally change our reality. We completely change our reality. I have already started to talk about the structure of the mind. In the last video I have explained that there is a first subjectivity, the I feeling, then second subjectivity, the feeling of doership, and then objectivity, which is further subdivided into the 5 layers, namely Kamamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Atimanasa Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Hiranamaya Kosha. So all those layers, they constitute our reality. Depending on how pure and how developed those koshas are, our life will be. So in the last video I have explained the functions of those koshas. I have explained what they are, and some people, they appreciate it and they have written in comments, and they also could observe something about their koshas. So in this video I would like to talk about how to develop and purify those layers of the mind. I am going to speak about the objective portion of the mind, mostly. So 5 layers are there. The Kamamaya Kosha, layer of desire. I see something, I want it, and I take an action to get it. That's the function. How to develop. The desire is a constructive force. Is not something to be suppressed. If you suppress the desire, you are making the inner bomb is going to blast. It cannot be suppressed. But if you express the desire, that desire will it can elevate you, or it can crudify you also. You may become more crude after the expressing of that desire, or you may become more subtle, depending on the nature of the desire. So, cannot express everything, cannot suppress, cannot deny also. I want something. So I cannot suppress that I want something, but I can change the nature of what I want. If the mind is crude, it will be attracted to the crude objects. But if the mind becomes subtle, it becomes bored with the crude objects, and it aspires for something subtler. It aspires for something subtler. So how to make this first layer of the mind subtler? How to purify it? Every action of ours leaves the imprint within our mind. There is a technology, the lie detector, and it is based on the body reaction to what I say. If you ask me and I speak the truth, there is no change. Everything goes smoothly. But if I say a lie, then there will be fluctuations. The nerves react. The body doesn't want to allow us to lie. Similarly, there are universal laws, and when we violate those laws, there will be fluctuations in the mind. And those fluctuations, they will stay. If you, in external world, you will give the impetus to the pendulum, it will go like that. But due to the friction, it will slowly come to the standstill. But in the mind, or in the vacuum, somewhere in the vacuum, there is when there is there is no friction, if you set the pendulum in motion, it will go perpetually. So similarly in the mind, when you do something, you set a certain vibration, you set it in motion, and it goes perpetually within the mind. So that vibration, that original imprint of your action remains with you and colors the mind. If I have done many, and the actions, you can observe that some actions, you do something, you become very calm. And some action, it makes you agitated. You go out of balance. So, if there are many actions, if there are many violations of our psychological laws, of our biological laws, for example, I am not supposed to lie. This is not in my biology, this is not in my anatomy. But somehow I learn how to lie due to the evolution. And then I do lie. There will be reaction within the body, there will be reaction in the mind. So due to that absence of calmness in the mind, there will be fluctuations. The mind will become restless. And that restless mind is unable to capture something subtle. But as we need pleasure, that's our fundamental necessity. Sukham anantam, sukha nurakti paramadja vivritya. The most primal human instinct is to get happiness. It is so fundamental. It is even more, the happiness is even more important than life itself. People commit suicide in hopes that they will become happier somehow. That is misguided. But if they wouldn't hope, they wouldn't do that. So happiness is the most primal instinct within us. And then my desire is just a way for me how to get happiness. But if my mind is crude, it is only drawn to the crude pleasures. I want happiness, but I have no means to have that, to get that happiness. There are only crude means, because the mind is crude. The perceptive mechanism is crude. And why the mind is crude? Because I have done many actions that set that pendulum of the mind in motion, and there is a vibration going on. The mind has become restless. There is no calmness. There is no peacefulness in me. So how to change, how to develop and how to purify this very first layer of the mind? There are a set of principles, which is called Yama and Niyama. The first 5 yamas, ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, parigraha, they are there to prevent a further accumulation of crudeness in the mind. If you follow them, you are not going to acquire more of those fluctuations in the mind. Your mind will remain as it is. And then there is Niyama. Those principles, if you practice those, slowly, your mind will start to get purging those unnatural vibrations which is harboring at the moment. So these 2 sets of principles, Yama and Niyama, they are developing and purifying the first layer, the kosha of the desire. And then the person just starts following these principles, and then in a very short span of time, he or she notices that I have become a different man. I cannot imagine why I was attracted before to those kind of things. I'm not anymore. That's very interesting. It is very, I would say, miraculous transformations that happens to the person. So I really recommend you to go through this. There is a special course in meditation steps. It is on Yama and Niyama, the principles of harmonious life. Next kosha is called Manomaya Kosha, the layer of the subtle mind. Memory, imagination, intellect, dreaming, all is sheltered in that kosha. The development of this layer results in the development of memory, intellect, imagination, purifies the dream, purifies the dreaming. There is a connection between the body and mind, especially this kosha and the body are very, very much connected. There is a connection between thinking and breathing. Yogis speak about something which is called pranaha, or the vital energy. It is believed that within us there is a force which keeps us alive. And that force has a frequency, it has a vibration. If I am breathing very fast, that force is also pulsating very fast. And the mind loses the ability to concentrate, to focus, and to use the capacity, the intellectual capacity. For example, if you run 2 kilometers and then you come in the room and then I will ask you, how much will be 28 by 137? And you just like, let me calm down, let me catch my breath, and then I will calculate for you. Or you come in and I give you one candy, put in your mouth. Open your mouth, close your eyes. Then you close your eyes, you open your mouth, and then I put a lemon candy inside. What is this candy? How does it taste like? Is it lemon? Is it lime? Is it orange? Is it... what is it? And then you will say, let me catch my breath. I will later tell you. I feel it is sour, it is sweet. I cannot catch the nuances. I need to catch my breath. So both your thinking and your memory and your perception even, everything is out of place. It's not working, it's not obeying you. You can see that the children in the school, they're running very fast and they're unable to focus on their studies. And sometimes it is not because there is a deficiency in intellect. As they grow, they become more calm, their pranaha become more calm, and they're able to use their intelligence. So the key to our intelligence is the breathing. There is a connection between the mind, between the pranaha, the vital force, and the breath. If I breathe very, very slowly, I am able to utilize my intellectual faculties and my memory. If I'm remembering something, if you watch a movie and then there is a very, very tense moment, you need to really focus to understand and concentrate, then what happens? You just like, and then once the tense moment passed, what you do? Because at that moment you needed your entire power of perception and concentration to catch it, to understand it. You became completely focused and concentrated. So similarly, if you are able to extend your ability to hold the breath, you are going to develop the capabilities of your mind. So in the path of yoga, there is a practice, very interesting practice, which is called pranayama. Prana means vital force, something which keeps us alive. And yama is the control, the practice of control over the vital force. I am attempting to steal the prana, let it become just so calm. Let it cease the vibration. There will be no vibration. There will be no breathing. People say, they sometimes ask, they write me and they ask question, Dada, when I meditate, moment comes that I'm not breathing. Is it okay? Am I not going to die? No, you're not going to die. You're doing very well. You're concentrating. That's why your prana, your vital force attains stillness. And you are there. Of course you are breathing, but you're breathing very slowly. Almost there is no limit how you can extend your breathing. The pranayama practice is the practice with the two approaches. One approach to calm your vital energy through your ideation. By becoming very, very concentrated on a very sublime idea, you make the vital energy calm. And then at the same time, you are pushing your body to breathe more slow. You are training your body. You are training your body. Just like you train the muscle, you train your breathing ability. And you make it very slow. And there is almost virtually, there is no end to that capacity. One of my teachers, one time we were going in the train. So we were, what to do in a train? That time there was no internet. There was no electricity in the train. Just sit and meditate, that's all. Look out of the window. And then in Russia, there are very long trains. So we were going like 4 days from Novosibirsk to Vladivostok. It's a very long train, very beautiful. You can just enjoy yourself looking out of the window. But 4 days doing nothing. So we meditate. And then one day we sat for meditation. He started to do pranayama. I thought, okay. Then I closed my eyes. I did all the lessons, all the practices that I do. I opened my eyes. He's still doing. I'm thinking, what is he doing? Because that particular lesson that we do, it has only 14 breathing cycles, means 14 times breathe in, 14 times breathe out. I'm thinking maybe he's doing many times in a row, he's repeating, maybe he's trying to achieve some superpower or something like that. I was thinking, I was very young. And then he's still doing. And he opened his eyes, and they're very like bloodshot, no? And he looks at me, he says, 1.5 hours. I say, what is 1.5 hours? 1.5 hours I did pranayama. I say, you did what? You did it many times? Did you hold the breath? I say, no, I just breathe slowly. 14 times. So you can imagine. It is more than 6 minutes. Breathe in, breathe out. So that was very impressive for me. He was doing like that. And then his intellectual capacity was extremely powerful. Whatever I would ask him, he would just like, here it is. It's like Google search in his head. It's like a Wikipedia inside. And I was asking him, Dada, how you know all these things? I'm supposed to know. I'm a teacher of meditation. I should know. So very brilliant man with a highly developed intellect. I also noticed in myself the difference when I started to practice the pranayama, the breath control. I started to remember the names of the people, the names, the verses, the different shlokas, sutras. It all started to just fit in my mind. It's not like I used to struggle to remember things, but once I started to do this, my mind just became so perceptive. It absorbs It's like there is a flow. I focus on something, I get it. If it is there in my mind, I will take it out. That's the memory. That's how it works. You go in your memory, and it's like you need to have some scent. You need to have some kind of feeling of that memory. And you go according to that scent, of that feeling, of that vibration. And then you, what was his name? I remember that circumstances when I met him. It was on a station. There was a train. The train was coming. Then he told me, "Oh, he came just like this casually," and he said, "My name is this." And then, oh, I remember. It's like you are having the partial information, portion of it, but not the whole thing. And you just need to stay with that. Just need to stay with that feeling. And then if you stay long enough and your breath doesn't tremble, if you maintain that calmness and focus on that, it will all reappear in your mind. Our mind is miraculous. It contains everything that we have once perceived. But how much access do we have to that? We have very little access if we have not trained our mind. So this practice, it trains the mind. But this practice is also dangerous. If this practice is not done with the proper preparedness, it can degenerate the mind. It can throw it into the crudeness, because it increases whatever is there in the mind, positive or negative. It kind of enlarges it. Yeah. So the first preliminary pranayama is when you just sit, when you receive the personal lesson of meditation, you repeat the mantra, breathing in and breathing out. There will be a portion of the mantra as you breathe in and portion of the mantra as you breathe out. And then as you want to repeat mantra longer, to focus on the sound of the mantra and on the meaning of the mantra longer, it slows down your breath. The breath becomes very, very slow. And even with the general mantra as we practice, Bhavanam Kevalam, it is still there. The vibration of the mantra comes and your breathing becomes very, very slow. So the intellectual capacity improves. Then next layer is Atimanasa Kosha. It is one of the most important. Your vision of the world, your subterranean flows of the mind, the tendencies of the mind, how you react, how you see things, your paradigms, the most important concepts, like something that is what you think, and something that is underneath of that rules your thinking. You look at the person this way, but then, and you see differently. There is a paradigm shift. I mean, there are many experiments with that. Just in this book, 7 Habits of the Highly Effective People, this author Covey, he gives the example of the picture, the young lady and the old lady. And depends on the contents of your mind, you will see the old lady or the young lady. And once you see both, you can shift between the two. So there are paradigms. There are like a root concepts that rule our life, determines who we are, how we interact with the world. And those need to be expanded. Otherwise, we are stuck with a very little window. So how to do that? Those concepts in our mind, those subterranean flow of our mind, we are not realizing them. And they're like living entities within. They are self-supporting, self-propagating. to expand the mind, what we need to do, we need to, for a moment, stop the functions of the mind. If something, yeah, this spine, it goes up, and until it goes up, it cannot go down. So if there is a certain flow in the mind, that flow cannot recoil back until it's stopped. Anyway, that is a big lecture. It is about karma, how the karma is being created and is being experienced. I can record also. After some time I will record that lecture also. So there are flows in the mind. We have created them by our actions. Those pendulums, those vibrations that we set in motion in our mind. And now they're living inside and they're recreating themselves. I have done something. Now that original action will lead me to the many actions of the similar nature. I will be motivated to do the same kind of things. It's just like a seed. You put in the earth the seed. From one seed of millet, you can have the entire, eventually you can have the entire field of the millet. So you plant one seed of one action, and then that action will lead you to another action, and to another action, and to another action, and to another action, and there will be endless consequences of those actions. And you cannot go out of that window that original action creates for you. It creates the environment, it creates the atmosphere in the mind that doesn't allow you to see the world differently. It creates one paradigm, and you have to experience it, you have to see it. So what to do? By stopping that wave in the mind, you can awaken see. That is very interesting. And how to stop that? You have to go step by step doing pratyahara yoga. Suspend first the feeling of the world, then the feeling of the body. And then, focusing on the I feeling, let go of the feeling of the activities of the mind. There will be no thinking. The thinking process will be suspended. And then that liberated mind from the worldly activities, you will direct to the spiritual ideation. So that suspension of the mind is called pratyahara yoga. It is very amazing. It is truly amazing. You give me any person with whatever negative mind, and then he will do the pratyahara yoga. Really, if he is capable of doing that, if he is capable of sitting and concentrating, within few months, his picture of the world will start to change. It will start to become brightened. This is what happened to me. I had a hard time in my adolescence. From 15 to 18, I was having a hard time. I was really having a crisis of existence. And normally I saw whatever happens in the world with the very dark eyes. I saw that there is nothing positive. Actually in the world everything is negative. Then I started to meditate. And I was initiated. I was doing sometimes with Vabanam Kevalam. Still, that was already improvement. But then I received the personal technique of meditation. And I started to do this deep technique of pratyahara. And I was enjoying it. And I was sitting there. Especially I was thinking this world is really a nonsense place. I should go into my meditation. So I would sit and sit and sit. And then it started to happen. It was like a brightening of the mind, together with the brightening of the world. You just suddenly you awake and you see the world is beautiful. And you start to notice so many things that you haven't noticed. Because why? Because your window, your paradigm would not allow you to. And then when you meditate, it just opens and opens and opens. And this is a beauty about meditation. When you meditate and you really focus, you become just like a laser beam. From that state, always you never return the same. You never return the same. That's why you always look in the world with the ever new eyes. And just like a child, when the child walks, it's like, wow, what am I doing? This is wonderful. So similarly, when you go into meditation, you're one person, and then you stop. You're not everything. You're not able to stop everything in the mind. Actually, in the beginning, you can feel that, oh, I'm progressing very fast. You have stopped the most evident, the most crude vibration, the most crude thinking flows in the mind. But when you start to look deeper, you understand that there is everything, there is a platform of the mind and it is moving. There are colors, there are sounds, there are little thoughts, there are bigger thoughts, there are like a fish in the ocean, endless. And you're managing, you're trying to still your mind. And you still it. And you come to the state of focus. You come to the state of silence. And you come out as a new person. And this is very amazing. It's quite simple. The logic is quite simple. But it's very amazing what it does to our mind, to ourselves. So Pratyahara Yoga, I would really suggest that one day you learn personal lesson of meditation, which combines all the methods to develop all the koshas. And you start with practicing the basic method with Bhavanam Kevalam, go through the basic course, and then go to the advanced meditation. Okay, so the paradigms are going to change. The windows and doors of the mind are going to open. You're going to see the world differently. Then there is Vijnanamaya Kosha, the layer of the special knowledge. What is that special knowledge? You know, you just know it is a formless knowledge. You feel yourself pregnant with knowledge. It is there. And then it goes down to the layers of the mind and it expresses. But if there is nothing on the higher layers, there is nothing also on the lower layers. Because whatever you speak, whatever you do is not original. It's just a repetition of what you have seen. But if you reach that level, that layer, then there is originality. You directly draw inspiration from the collective unconscious, from the cosmic existence. So that special knowledge that allows you to know without actually knowing means normally we receive the knowledge by seeing, touching, tasting, and then calculating, making our inferring, etc. But there is a knowledge of intuitive nature. And the scientists and discoverers, those who make the discoveries, they say, I didn't, it just came to me. Is it like a hunch? You understand that, okay, there is an explosion in the mind. And then later on you work with the lower layers of the mind. You make your experiments, and then you discover. Is a work, the collective work of the mind. But without that spark, there is no genius. There is no really, the talent is there, but there is no genius. So how to develop that kind of ability? By the practice of concentration. When the mind turns into the point, actually the point is a symbol of God, singularity. The point has no size. It has only the place, the coordinates, but no size. It constitutes everything. And from the point we came out. When there was a big burst, there was nothing, but there was a point. There was no space, there was no time, but there was a point. So from that point we were born. And when you make your mind as a point, you turn your mind into the point, you elevate your mind into the higher layers. There is no more analytical thinking. Everything is there in that point. All knowledge of the world is there in that point. So that's the way. Concentration on the point. Concentration on the point. Achieving the real unbroken concentration. If you stay in that concentration for some time, the quality of the mind changes and it enters into the flow. It starts to acquire the qualities of what you're meditating upon. So that is simply by concentration you can develop the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then finally there is Hiranamaya Kosha. Hiranamaya means the golden layer, or some people call it Anandamaya, the layer of bliss. To feel the joy of existence, to feel the bliss of existence, we need to have that kosha developed. And it is being developed by dhyana. Dhyana is very difficult to explain. What is dhyana? It's the subtle-most practice in sadhana, in meditation. I will try to come very low to explain. Use very common examples. When someone told you a joke, what you have to do? You have to understand that joke. You have to forget the things around you. And then you have to really focus on that joke. You concentrate on that joke. And you are catching it. No, you didn't catch. What's the joke about? Okay, again, and again, and again. And then start to... And then all of a sudden, ha 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 ha. Then you laugh. Suddenly, something which was not understood, now it is understood. Realization. You read the poetry. You cannot understand the metaphors of the poetry. But then you do it again, and you focus, and you focus. And then the poem becomes part of you. And when it has become part of you, when you really deeply understood it, then you can explain it in 1,000 ways. You don't have to... It's a realization. You know from within yourself. So that realization is the result of dhyana. And the process of realization, when you start to flow with that idea, your mind start to adjust with that wave of that idea. And once your mind completely acquired the wavelengths of that idea, you have become that idea. You know it from inside, internally. So that dhyana is to make the mind flow with the idea. There is an idea of the mantra, the sublime sound. For example, Bhavanam Kevalam. Consciousness is all there is. So I let my mind flow with that idea. And my mind adjusts to that idea, adjusts more and more, and then suddenly I realize. To realize that, it is said, Brahmavid, Brahmaiva, Bhavati. The one who has known the consciousness, the Supreme Consciousness, becomes the Supreme Consciousness. So you think, and your mind adjusts more and more. As you adjust more, there will be more and more joy within. Because there, what is Brahma? What is consciousness? It is Anandam, Brahma Ityahu. Supreme Consciousness is bliss. Also people call it Satchidananda, eternal, alive, conscious, intelligent, and blissful. So as you think, so you become. As you think, so you become. Your mind adjusts to that. So the Hiranamaya Kosha is being developed by meditation on the sublime idea with the mantra dhyana. You're focusing, and then you're repeating the mantra. And as you repeat the mantra, you go deeper in the import of the mantra. And then it opens up. And then finally, all the koshas, everything merges into the state of consciousness. And that state where there is no duality, there is no perceiver, there is no perceived, everything becomes one. That state is called samadhi. So we have talked of the 5 layers of the mind and all the methods which develop the layers of the mind. Yama and Niyama are there to develop the first layer of the mind, conscious mind, the Kamamaya Kosha, the layer of the desire. Then there is asana also. There is asana. It is also a portion of yoga. It's to develop the body. The most crude layer, which is not the mind because it is not abstract, but still it is a part of us. So yoga also develops that by asana, by the physical exercise. Then there is pranayama, the breath control practice, to develop the intellectuality, imagination, memory, the second layer of the mind. Then there is pratyahara, the suspension of the mind, bringing the mind, the actions of the mind to the standstill. It develops creativity, and it opens the mind. It opens the mind, and it purifies the mind. What you have seen as a black, now you see that it has so many colors. Your mind is not black anymore, so you see everything. Then there is concentration. The practice of concentration develops knowledge. And then there is meditation. There is contemplation. You contemplate the meaning of the mantra. And then you flow the dhyana. And you develop the blissful nature of yourself. And then there is samadhi. In that state, you are one with the consciousness. So that's why the yoga, 8 limbs of yoga, the 8-fold path is very important. It develops all the layers of the mind. It is not a religious practice. It is scientific practice. It has been proven and proven again by numerous examples. And if you practice yourself, it will come. You will see these things happening to you. Yes. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you are inspired to do meditation. Don't let this inspiration go somewhere. Try to sit and meditate very, very nicely, in a very beautiful way. Immediately, let us meditate. Namaskar.